As advice goes, dream big is pretty safe. Shoot for the moon. Reach for the stars. Easy to say, harder to do, especially if you haven't seen anyone else do it. San Antonio native Feliz Ramirez learned the lesson from her dad, Jesus, and now his legacy is to give other kids the same advice. Welcome to BexarCast. I'm Randy Langford, and this is BexarCast, a weekly interview with business, political, education, and nonprofit leaders. We're examining the relationships between all four and how each one benefits from the success of the other three. Feliz Ramirez got her first acting gig at the ripe old age of 4. At 14, she was the lead in the independent film Mia's Story. After St. Francis College in Brooklyn, where she played Division I volleyball and worked on her acting chops, she moved to California to continue her acting career. In 2019, she got her breakout role as Carolina on Grand Hotel on ABC. Today, she's living the beach life while pursuing her career. Felice, thanks for joining me. I'm so glad to see you.
Thank you so much for having me, Randy. I'm so excited to see you again.
It's been a while. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just, hanging in there. I'm
Yeah.
over here in south of LA, Manhattan Beach. I love living here, and it's been actually a savior for me to have the beach as my backyard during quarantine and with everything that's going on.
Right. That's likely to change as the rules change every day. Something.
They're changing every day.
Right.
I'm definitely, currently we're allowed to do athletic, activities on the beach.
Right.
But they're closing the beach this weekend for 4th of July. So it's gonna be pretty hectic this weekend. I'm sure people are still gonna probably try and come hang out over here, and it's been pretty crazy down
Right.
here.
Right.
As soon as the beaches opened, everybody was coming to just have a nice trip to the beach because that's
Sure.
really what's the only thing that was open at the time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's. This is my first pandemic. I don't recommend it. I hope
I don't recommend it either.
I
Yeah, we
hope
need
the
to
next
write
one's
some
better
reviews.
organized.
Yeah, we need to voice our complaints,
Right.
and for the next one, yeah, we'll definitely hopefully get it right.
Well, and it's while we're talking about the pandemic, it's having an impact on how all of us go about our business. Everybody's life is changed by this. But for actors, people like you who essentially working large groups, nobody makes a film, nobody makes a TV show, nobody makes a movie by themselves. Those are large organizations. It must be especially tough when you can't do your work, can't ply your trade.
Ooh, yeah, I just got to take some deep breaths
Yeah, did I push a
to talk
button?
about this.
Yeah.
It's definitely been challenging. Obviously, everything was put on hold, and we still have yet to receive, any secure information that productions are going to start, at a certain time. Recently, I've been auditioning for projects that are said to start end of August, early September. And all of the industry has been given, sent documents of the protocols for working on set and how it's just very detailed of taking tests every 24 hours. The actors would need to take tests every 24 hours because
Wow.
they're the only they're at the most risk because during shooting they're not going to be having any face masks or any protection,
Right.
so only a tiny amount of people will be able to interact with the actors, which will be a challenge for everybody because TV sets, movie sets are humongous, and
Yeah.
people are constantly hands-on with the actors,
Sure.
wardrobe, makeup, directors, assistants. Everybody is constantly working and moving and interacting with each other, so it is definitely interesting to see how that's going to pan out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be different. Everybody's life is going to be different. But
Oh
hopefully
yeah.
we'll get back to we'll get a new normal and adjust to it and be able to move forward.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Let me tell your backstory a little bit.
Okay.
You're here because you're an actor. You're someone working in the media, and so I want to talk to you about that. But the other reason you're here is because of your dad, Jesus Ramirez.
That is
And
true.
let me just tell a little bit about how that came to be. Uh, your dad he brought his Antonian college prep team to Bearfest for the first 2 years of the festival, and I was impressed with the work that Antonian did. They were always award winners. They had a very good team and well coached. And when I learned that Antonian wouldn't be attending the third Bearfest, I called the school. I wanted to know why not, what happened. That's when I learned he had passed away. And so the board of TRL Productions, that's the organization that puts on Bearfest. That's the nonprofit. We wanted to honor his memory. So we talked to your family, we talked to your mom, and learned that he was passionate about the arts and encouraging young people to pursue creative careers. You're a classic example of that. So we created the Jesus Ramirez Newcomer of the Year Award in recognition of that passion. And it's the only award at Bearfest that a team can only win once. You win it in your first year, or you don't win it at all. And it's
Mhm.
the only award named for a person. And with that said, with that background, tell me how your dad encouraged you to pursue your dream of becoming an actor.
Ooh.
Yeah, let me just push all your buttons as long as we're here.
Yeah, I would love to talk about, I can talk about my dad all day long. Wow, he was such an inspiration to my career and really was, yeah, the reason I started acting. He he sent me to my first audition, brought me to my first audition at age 4.
Oh,
And in San Antonio, I was auditioning for Paragon Cable commercial in Spanish, and I booked it. I still remember that shoot. I don't remember much of when I was 4 years old, but I remember this day so perfectly. I booked, I booked the gig, and my dad, it was me and my dad. We went to the house that they were shooting this commercial, and it was have I showed you this commercial?
no, I haven't seen it.
Oh, I gotta send it to you. I
Yeah, send
still
it to me.
have the
I'll
tape. I'm
use it
like,
in this.
so I basically was sitting on a beanbag flipping channels with a really sad, like angry face, like one of those like classic frown faces.
Right?
And I had to say, "Mommy, ¿dónde está papi?" And I'm flipping through a TV, and there's just a bunch of fuzz because we don't have cable. And so I'm saying, "Mommy, where's papi?" And she's like, "He in Spanish, he's at his friend's house watching cable." And I'm mad. I'm angry that papi's not here. And I say, "Por qué? Because why? Because we don't have cable here." And so that was the commercial. So, anyways, I remember that day perfectly. I remember when I got to set, they gave me this outfit. It was like a lavender overalls, corduroy overalls with like a little flower T-shirt. They gave me a
Oh,
little doll. That after that day, honestly, there was nothing else I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to be an actress at age 4,
from
and
four.
from 4 years old, and the the amazing blessing that I was able to have that opportunity to be on a set, to be working, performing at such a young age because of my father. I mean, I'm just incredibly blessed that he introduced that world to me at such a young age. He also was, throughout my childhood, recording our entire, childhood with
Right.
his video camera. And we have gigabytes of home videos that I haven't even looked through all of them, honestly, but I'll find some treasures in there. I still am looking through them to this day, and even just realizing now, like, there's so much content that he recorded throughout my life. I have my I have the day I was born with the doctors and my mom in
Oh,
the hospital room and
wow.
them holding me at my first for my first day on this earth. I
Wow.
have my first
Your mom was
basketball
pretty
game.
patient.
She was, I mean, but she was a big part of it too. You know, my dad was kind of he was headstrong about recording us, but she loved it too, and she was involved as well. And she's actually an amazing filmmaker. Also, he taught her a lot about how to make videos. So that was a big part of my childhood, and I just felt very comfortable in front of the camera because of my father. And throughout my career growing up and I moved to New York. I moved out of state for college. I left Texas to play volleyball, but my main mission was that I wanted to be an actress, and so I need to be in New York or I need to be in LA. That's what I was telling myself. And I found a school that offered me a full ride scholarship to St. Francis in New York, in Brooklyn, and I played volleyball, Division I volleyball over there. On the side, I was, auditioning and finding agents and theater and training and everything. And throughout that whole time, my dad was my sidekick. He was the one sending me, links to different, if I ever had a question about anything in the industry, I would reach out to him first. He would try and find answers for me, or he would connect me with people he knew, because when he had his commercial production company, he would travel to New York and LA. So he did have some connections, not a crazy amount, but they were still great to get me started. And yeah, he was by my side the whole way through. He was there when I called. He was the first person I called when I booked Grand Hotel. I booked the pilot Grand Hotel, and that was an incredible experience when I got the phone call that I have to be on a plane in 2 hours to go to Miami from New York to shoot to be on a to go to a cast dinner, to meet Eva Longoria that same night, and meet all of the celebs and crazy, world of this, the industry, like in that same night that I'd booked. And so it was a lot of, it was overstimulating. It was very
A
overstimulating
little
time.
overwhelming, right? Now,
Overwhelming.
along
Yeah.
with the mechanics of helping you make the connections you needed to make, tell me about your dad's support as far as encouraging you. And I know you've told me this story before. You've told it at Bearfest about how he told you to dream big and take the next step, and don't let your expectations get small. Tell me that. Tell me that story.
Yeah, I love talking about this, and it's so, so, so important. I didn't know that I never knew as a child, as a teenager, as an adolescent, I never knew that it wasn't possible. I never believed that it was not possible. And the reason that never made sense to me was because my father and my mother both told me that it was okay, that when I said, my mom, I just got off the phone with my mom like 2 hours ago, and I told her, I'm working on some video content, and I'm talking about how you need to tell yourself, you need to say it out loud, and you need to tell yourself, I am a filmmaker, I am an actor, I am a writer, and saying this to other people as well. It's so very important. My parents, my mom told me a story where there was a short film that was being cast in San Antonio by a friend of hers, and she was talking to a parent that they hadn't found a girl yet. And at the time I wasn't auditioning much. I wasn't doing much acting. I was more into sports. I was 14 years old.
Right.
And I stopped acting after a little bit. I got a little scared, and I got some stage fright and stuff. And then I got really into sports. So when I heard her say this, the acting bug was kicking in at 14 again. And she was talking to a parent about that they hadn't found a lead for this short film that was shooting in San Antonio. And she just told me, she was like, "Do you remember, Felice, when you heard me say that and you said, why don't I try that? Why don't I audition for that?" And my mom said, "Oh, you want to audition for that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to audition for that." And she goes, okay. And then I auditioned for it and I booked it, and
Nice.
I got the lead in Mia's Story. It was a short film in San Antonio, and just, you know, for her to even just say okay, you know, and that's, you know, my parents were very supportive in the choices I wanted to make. And I've heard a lot of stories where you know, there have been little seeds of doubt or little seeds of fear that someone will say to a person that may be very discouraging. And that is the number one thing that, you know, my dad would always tell me. You know, you want to do this, okay, well, do your research. Here's the computer, look up your stuff, find an agent. I went to my first agent with him. They almost they wanted to sign him more than me.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks for
Yeah,
outshining
he, you
me.
know, I know. He comes in, she goes, "You have a really good look. Are you represented?" And I'm here, 14-year-old, like just so insecure. And yeah, that was a funny experience.
Oh, that's
But
good.
he was, you know, he always believed that it was possible, and because of that, I never thought, even to this day, it's not about if, it's never about if, it's about when. I know it's going to happen. It's just a
Right.
matter when is the time. And I don't need to know that, you know, whenever I broke through, it just happened. I wasn't there's no way to plan that. There's
Right.
no way to, you just have to keep going and going. And a lot of incredible people, mentors, actors, my dad, all told me it's how long you stay with it. You know, the only people who don't make it are the ones who stop.
Right. Yeah. I forget who the coach was, but the old saying is it's really hard to beat somebody who just won't quit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
And in that vein, in that idea, Bearfest we started out as a way to give high schoolers a chance to learn media production. Just wanted them to experience it. Take a look. Maybe it's not for you. We understand most of the kids in Bearfest aren't going to go into the media, but give it a try. Give it maybe it is for you. Maybe it's not, but take a bite. What we've learned from coaches who have brought teams to Bearfest, like your dad did, is that the kids are learning more than just media. They're learning collaboration and communications and conflict management and resource allocation, all those skills that apply to any career. And I'm so glad. That's great. I'm glad they're doing that. But in a creative career like you are, how important are those skills? Is that something that has served you?
A tremendous amount, a tremendous amount. Especially now where everything is online, and especially now because of COVID, people have, you know, people are a lot more inspired to create their own content. We don't need, you know, the networks
Right.
anymore to produce something of substance, to
Yeah.
produce anything. You create something and you put it online.
We all have a media production company in our pocket nowadays.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's so important, and not just in my industry, in any industry nowadays. You see in real estate, you know, how many real estate agents are moving to filming and with the
Right.
drones and
Right.
editing to show off a house, or it's all, you know, now it's all really relevant to all industries.
And all industries, and that triggers another thought, is that San Antonio is usually thought of as a blue collar town. It doesn't really have a creative reputation. When people think of where do I go in Central Texas to do something creative, well, it's not San Antonio, it's Austin. People think of Austin, but
Yeah.
Bearfest is proving that there are talented creative people here in San Antonio. In fact, San Antonio is the only place where an event like this happens. To date, we're going into our fifth year now, we've had 60 high schools make media, videos, photos, graphics, original music for
Wow.
120 nonprofit organizations. And that's just here. Nobody else in the world is doing what we're doing here. So I want to send the message to the students that are participating in Bearfest, and more importantly to the kids who haven't gotten to Bearfest yet. that you can do this in San Antonio. You don't have to go to Austin to be creative. You can pursue this here in San Antonio. And you mentioned a little while ago you're creating some online media that maybe kids who are interested in creative careers might want to learn more about. Tell me about that.
Yeah, of course. I am starting an online platform where I will be creating video content of all of the advice that all of the things I learned starting out as an actor. And the from everything from, what I had to tell myself every single day to keep myself going,
Right?
my mentorship, who I relied on, the times when I felt like uh, I was ripped off by an agent, lost some money here, here or there. Experiences that I know young adults or anybody who wants to break into the industry would benefit from if they heard these stories. I've been asked countless times advice from teenagers, anybody who's trying to start to become an actor, what are the first steps? And I can repeat myself over and over like a broken
Right?
record, or I can create this video content and say, I have all of the information you need. It's on my website. It is going to be very helpful to you, and there's going to be a lot of free content as well as subscription content where you can pay for just very in-depth, detailed video footage
Sort of
or
like a master
video
class.
master class. Yeah, like a
Okay.
master class.
Yeah, and I would certainly encourage people to take advantage of your experience because you've led a charmed existence. I don't want to belittle what you have accomplished. You've accomplished a great deal to go from San Antonio to play in Division I college sports to appearing on a network series. Not bad.
Thank you.
Pretty
Not
good.
bad. Thank
Pretty
you.
good.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
for
And
for how old?
that's 28.
Yeah,
Wow, I'm
not bad.
28. Yeah, and I that's what I really want to highlight is that it is some just being from San Antonio and growing up the way that I did. I want to encourage those who do live in a city like San Antonio, blue collar city or small town, to see that it is possible for somebody to break into an industry that might feel like it's super closed off. You
Right.
have to, you kind of have to be born into it. I mean, there's a lot of that here. I live in LA now, and it's really refreshing to see to see how far I've come, to look back on
Yeah.
my success, and to really just be proud of myself. I'm not proud, or I don't think of it enough, but just to reflect on where I'm at. I'm sitting here looking at the ocean from my window, and
Well done.
well
And
done.
I want kids in San Antonio. I want teenagers in San Antonio to realize it's not a pipe dream. You can do this. It is
You can do
absolutely
it.
possible. And here's beautiful living proof of that.
And Randy, I do feel like you give that opportunity to them, and I will have to say, I applaud you for bringing Bear Fest to life.
Thank
And I wish I had that as a teenager,
you.
but I also am so proud to be involved.
Well, and I'm always so impressed with the students that are participating. The kids are absolutely fearless. The technology to the generation in high school now is native. They were born using this technology. So filming and recording and posting is nothing to them. That's easy. But they're also not afraid of the storytelling, the tough topics that they have to deal with. And we did that on purpose. We put them in uncomfortable situations in these nonprofit organizations that, yeah, we could have designed the festival where you tell a story about your football team or your band, but no, we're gonna put you in a real world, real situation. And I'm so impressed with the way the kids find their voice and test their courage
Mhm.
and explore their opportunities that Teachers tell me that the kids go into the festival with a pretty relaxed attitude, pretty casual attitude. Oh, this will be fun. We get to drag cameras around and be on TV and do all that glamorous stuff. But then when they actually meet the nonprofit, when they walk into the Rape Crisis Center or the children's shelter, and they realize this is serious business. These are real people with real issues and real missions. They're counting on us to tell their story in a meaningful way. They step up. They get
Mm,
absolutely serious about it. The giggling is over. This is for
mhm,
real, and we are going to do something about this. And I don't think high school kids get enough credit for that ability. They just need some direction and a target to aim at, and they'll take it. It, it, I'm just, I want to hear your thoughts on that. That you came up through that creative side of that creative family that you come from. And how many siblings?
7.
Seven. There's 7 kids, and not
8
not
kids.
8 kids.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 8. Not a bad apple in the bunch. Your sister Celeste.
She's great. Yeah.
Let's talk about
Singer.
her for a minute.
Yeah, she's been pursuing singing as long as I've been pursuing acting, and she's an incredible singer, incredible musician. She produces a lot of Christian music and submits herself to contests. She does a lot of work in San Antonio.
And it
Um,
seems like that wave is just about to crest for her.
yes,
I've
yeah,
been
and
hearing a lot about her lately that she's about to break through. I feel like it.
it's persistence. It really is
Yeah.
persistence, and everybody talks about this. Everybody who's like made it to a successful point, or nobody talks about the time that it took you to get there. They just talk about when you're there.
Yeah, that overnight
Like I
sensation that took
wasn't.
10 years, right? Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that's the I think that's the magical part of it, is like people think you just came out of nowhere,
Right.
but you've actually been working at this for such a long time. And nobody was, you weren't talking on podcasts during those times, but you were finding yourself, you were staying committed. Being in sports for both Celeste and myself have
Right.
been very influential for us and very beneficial for us because of that hard work mentality and just staying committed. And even when you're stuck in a deficit, you're always, you always have to figure out how to get out of there.
Right.
And that's what I learned through sports. And I still learn today. I'm gonna play volleyball in 2 hours and feel that energy that gets
Yeah.
me there.
Right.
But yeah, it's about the persistence. It really is, just, and telling yourself every day, I'm here, and I'm supposed to be here, and I want to be here, and I'm
And
gonna get there.
I earned this. I deserve this. This is
Yeah,
not a
I deserve
fluke.
this. I
Absolutely.
deserve this.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
make a big deal every spring at the premiere. You've been there. You've seen it.
Hmm.
The kids are treated like celebrities. They get to see their videos on a giant screen at the Tobin, the showcase of San Antonio. There's red carpets and gift bags, and we make a big deal out of it. And I've had students tell me they appreciate that we're taking them seriously. This isn't a high school event. Oh yeah, that's nice. You made a video. Go sit down and be quiet. No,
Hmm.
we're taking you seriously. We're giving you a real opportunity to make an impact on your community, and they appreciate that. From your perspective, somebody that's been through this, how important is just that encouragement, just being taken seriously, being told that yeah, you're pretty good.
It's so important, Randy, and I just love that you have created a safe place for these students to show their creative side and be seen. What just came to my mind when you were saying that was that would be very interesting to see if some of the students at some point would find it in themselves to produce, to have an event themselves. To find,
I'm counting on it.
it's when you think about how it's tedious, but okay, you need a venue, but you could do it in a backyard. You could do
Right.
it anywhere. You could create a movie night and have and you have all, you know, all of your friends are, you know, the filmmakers who you want to work with, and you
Absolutely.
do a little movie marathon and you do a little contest and you do it in your backyard, and you invite you it's a ticketed event and you invite people. San Antonio has the space.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know
yeah.
that this can happen.
Oh yeah.
And so these are things that I know, you know, if there are a lot of moments like that in my career right now that kind of hit me like straight on the face, where something happens and I say, oh, I can do that. Oh, I can make my own content. Oh, I can do that. You know, I can produce my own work. And sometimes I forget that that's possible.
Right.
And until you actually get going, and you know, you don't need like a year plan. You just need to start. And so let's say a group of kids are inspired by your event and they said, oh, I want to do a summer show. I want to do a summer show. Maybe they ask you, Randy, how, you know, what would you say is a great start way to start this?
Right.
And you say, okay, well, you could do it in your backyard. How about you set a date and you guys, you and your friends, try and reach a goal. You know, it's such a great inspiration to have Bear Fest.
Let me tell you how terrifying it is to set a date.
I know.
Because then
Maybe
the
that's
clock
all.
is ticking, and yeah.
But it's good because it gets your bones, you
Oh
know,
yeah, you get
moving.
stirred
It
up.
gets your blood flowing.
Yeah, it gets your adrenaline going.
Yeah.
One of the things we do at the festival, one of the things we do at the premiere, and I'm very sincere about it and very intentional about it, is I don't get to talk to the students during the production phase, but at the premiere I get to talk directly to the students, and so I make a point of telling them how much goes into making this happen on by their teachers, not by me. What we do to make the festival happen is pretty routine, but the teachers that bring teams to Bearfest, this is not an easy thing to do. I mean, they're already busy. They already have a full
Mm-hmm.
plate, and to take on this
Mm-hmm.
extra work of building a team, getting it engaged with a nonprofit organization, creating videos, photos, graphics, whatever it is you're going to
Mm-hmm.
create for the festival, that takes time and effort. And there's
Mm-hmm.
generally one person driving that, and it's the teacher, it's the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure that they understand how much we appreciate what they're doing and how much I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate what your dad did. He was an absolute perfect example of that commitment to I'm going to give my kids this opportunity and I'm going to help them make the most of it. Not for me. It'd be easier for me to blow this off and go home at night. But to take on that extra load and give the kids that opportunity, I want you to know how much I appreciate him
Mm-hmm.
and all the teachers that bring their kids to Bearfest. And I want to thank you for being here and for letting us impose on your time to tell your
Oh,
story,
always.
to maybe inspire another kid that thinks, I'm just a kid from the south side of San Antonio. I can't do this. Oh yeah, you can, and you better.
Yeah,
If
you
you have this
better.
opportunity and you don't take advantage of it, that's on you.
Exactly.
So thank you
Yeah.
for being here.
And
Thanks for your insights.
thank
Thanks
you
for your
so much,
input.
Randy.
Thanks for your help. And enjoy well, if you get to go to the beach, enjoy the beach.
Thank you. And I really appreciate your time as well. And
My
I
pleasure.
really love everything that Bearfest is doing. So
Well,
thank you for that.
I hope you'll get to come to town this spring for the next
I
premiere.
know. Oh, I would love to. I would love to. I mean, the only reason I wouldn't is because I'd be shooting, you
Yeah.
know, another project.
And
But
that's a pretty good reason.
yeah,
All right. Well,
for
thank
sure.
you so much, Felice. I certainly appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you, Randy.
My
Thank you
pleasure. Take
again.
care. So
Take
long.
care.